Solid Foundation Israelite Academy 2019. Once again, we're going to be giving you guys another awesome lesson, and this lesson is based upon Revelation chapter 10 verse 9. So we will begin with Revelation chapter 10 verse 9. Doing this through the spirit and power of Yahweh S.F.I.A, also recognizing the elders and the Achaim, the brothers, that's teaching this truth and sincerity, edifying the lost sheep of the house of Israel, which are the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. Last but not least, giving all praises and glorification and due honor to who? Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ. So without further ado, here we go. Revelation chapter 10, verse 9. The lesson is entitled Bitterness. So let's get it. You will need a King James Bible for this lesson, and you will also need something to take down notes. So we're going to begin with Revelation 10 and 9. So let's begin. So this is all based upon bitterness. Revelation 10 and 9. And I went unto the angel and said unto him. So this is I, John the Revelator, speaking. John, one of the 12 apostles, one of the elite of the 12 apostles. John, the apostle John, the revelation he was given by the Lord, and John is the apostle of the 12 that formulated the book of Revelation. Okay, so he says, I, John, went into the angel. The angel means a messenger. Went into a messenger and said unto him, give me the little book. So this little book is what you call today the Bible. All right. The little book is in reference to the Bible that you call the Holy Bible today. This the little book. I want you guys to see. All right. Back to Revelation 10 and 9. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up. Now, we know that you don't chew on a Bible. You don't bite down on a Bible. So what is it talking about in Revelation 10 and 9 in reference to taking and eat it up? Okay, it's talking about learning. All right, the Holy Bible. It's talking about get familiar with it, get acquainted with it, study it. You know, this is how you eat it up in reference. Let me give you a precept how you eat this up, because this is not literal consumption as far as biting down on it or chewing on it. So let me give you a precept to eating it up. We can go into Psalms. This is Psalms 1 and 1. Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. Okay, so this is how you eat up the word of the Lord. Psalms 1 and 2. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his laws does he meditate day and night. So this is how you eat up the scriptures. This is how you eat up the Bible. Okay, so Psalms 1 and 2 is a good book, chapter, and verse to show you guys on how to eat up the word, to eat up the Bible, which is the good book. And so you meditate, you know, day and night on these scriptures, these laws, statutes, and commandments. And that's in reference to eating up the Bible. Okay, so let's go back. Dealing with Revelation chapter 10. So take it and eat it up, pursuant to Psalms 1 and 2. Meditate on it day and night, learn it, get familiar with it, and rehearse the righteous acts. It says, and it shall make thy belly bitter. So a lot of people may not know about this book. This book is going to make the puted man, the puted woman, the puted young man, the puted young woman. This book here is going to make you bitter after a while. as you begin to, grow into it, as you begin to read it and get familiar with it, you begin to study it, you begin to really see this book for what it truly is. As a Hebrew Israelite, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are the ancient Hebrews, according to the scriptures, the prophecies. As you begin to get into this book, you will become bitter. All right? So, once you take it, you eat it up. Once you learn this book, the Bible, it's going to make thy belly bitter. The belly means the mind. It's going to make thy belly bitter. That's like a allegorical saying based on the mind. So when you eat it up, it's going to make you bitter in the mental. It's going to make you bitter in your mind. Blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. But it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. So basically, give me the little book, which is the Bible. This is what John said unto the messenger. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up. So the messenger told John, learn this book, learn this Bible, right? And once you learn it, this is the results. This is the aftermath. Once you learn this book, it's going to make thy belly bitter. It's going to make your mind bitter. So a lot of us have a wrong over-entering understanding about this book. Because when we come across this book, even though the book does speak of positive things, the book also speaks of negative things concerning the nation of Israel. Because this book in general is a book that is for the Israelites and by the Israelites. And so, as an Israelite man, woman, or child, this is your book. It doesn't belong to the other nations, never will. Alright? And so, I recommend you, when you read this book, to try to identify which nation you belong to. Because if you're not an Israelite, then you're reading, like if you are a Gentile, and you're reading this book, then you're reading about Israelite history. If you're an Israelite and you're reading this book, then you're reading about your own history. And reading about your own history, you're going to become bitter. Reading about your own nation, discovering what your nation did, discovering that the nation of Israel broke the commandments, sinned against their God, went and served idols. This is going to make you bitter, because when you go into this book, man, this book speaks of great lamentation, great lamentation, mourning, and destruction. So, to make a long story short, I'll show you why I said after you eat the book up, after you learn the Bible, it's going to make your mind bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. So why I say it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey? Because that's your beginning stages in the truth. That's when you're an amateur. That's when you're a greenhorn. That's when you're a novice. When you first come into this truth, it's going to be sweet as honey, because, it's a wonderful thing, man. You first come into this truth, you find out that you're a Hebrew Israelite. You find out that you're the chosen people. You know what I'm saying? You found out that you're a special people. You find out about all the other heathen nations, that they don't belong to this book. The book is not their book. The Savior is not their Savior. The Most High God is not their God. That's a wonderful thing as a Hebrew Israelite to find out. It makes you feel like now you're worth something. It makes you feel like, man, we the special and chosen people of this book. But as you begin to read the book, like I said, it will make you bitter. But when you first come into the knowledge of the truth of being a Hebrew Israelite, yes, it's going to be sweet as honey. And I'm going to show you the precept of that. So let's go to Mark 4:16. All right? So I'm just showing you something before we grab the precept. You're going to find out that you're a Hebrew by blood, that you're an Israelite by nationality, and you're African American by slavery, because we were never African Americans. That proverb and byword was placed upon us. So, when you find out, that those people over there in the east, those people over there in Palestine today, they are not the Jews that the Bible speaks of. That's a wonderful thing, man. Finding out that blacks and Hispanics, are the two witnesses. Judah and Israel is basically Negroes and Migos. That's a wonderful thing, man. But like I said, keep in mind that's the sweet part. It says we will never be free as long as we are lost to our identity. So when you find out that you are Israelite, man, that's the sweet part. That's the honey. You know? See, nigger is a Latin word for niger, which means black, and then Israelites, the people who were called Niger in Acts 13. It's a lot of history, man. When you find out that you're an Israelite, you're going to delight in, and you will be, I mean, you're gonna feel like you're on top. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been lied to for so long. You know what I'm saying? And now the truth is being revealed, and people are returning back to their nationality, man. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, all this, man, you got many different camps that's teaching this. This is all over the internet. You feel me? Like, not only IUIC, but many other camps teaching the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you are not black African, but you are Israelite, man. And so when you come into this knowledge, that's your Revelation 10 and 9. That's the sweet part. But it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. It tastes good to you. It feels good to you when you first come into it. But then as you progress and as you invest time into the truth, then eventually it's going to make thy mind bitter, man. And this is what I'm trying to bring out. Mark 4 and 16. So let's go to the Gospel Mark 4 and 16. And these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, who, when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness. That's that honey. Because when our people, you know what I'm saying, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, when our people, you know what I'm saying, like when our people hear it, basically the people on this 12 tribe chart, you know what I'm saying, like let's zoom in, as you can see, so-called Negroes, West Indians, Jamaicans, Haitians, Dominicans, Guatemalans, the Panamanians, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, North American Indians, Seminole Indians, Argentinians, Chileans, Colombians, the Uruguayan Mexicans. All the people that you see here listed on this 12 tribe chart, when they find out this knowledge, when they find out this royal knowledge, man, it's though it's like, what can I say? That's your Revelation 10 and 9. It's sweet as honey to them. Now they want to tell the world. They want to tell the world they're Israelite. They want to edify someone else and try to wake someone else up. That's the beginning stages of this thing. This is why Mark 4 and 16 says, like, when they have heard the word, when they heard this truth, immediately they receive it with gladness. Oh man, we the Israelites? We the special people? Oh man, Christ didn't die for everyone? Oh man, the real name of the Messiah is Yahweh. His name is not Jesus? Oh, you mean to tell me there's no J's in the Hebrew alphabet? Wow, they never called him Jesus? You know his biblical name, according to the scriptures, his name is Yahweh. Wow, they never called him God, his name is Yahweh? You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. We can't eat shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster? Wow, we got to keep the 7th day? Wow, we got to keep feast days? We can't keep federal governmental holidays? We're not to live the American dream? Wow, we got to come out? We got to be consecrated and separated? You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, this book is our book. The Bible is the Israelite books, the blacks and the Spanish and Native Americans. That's what it's talking about. When they have heard the word, immediately they receive it what? They receive it with gladness, man. But then eventually, you know, Mark 4:17, and have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time. They don't stay within it. They don't stay in the truth. Afterwards, when affliction or persecution comes, you know, for the word's sake, immediately they are offended, and so eventually they fall out, or they wither away, because in the beginning they did what? They received the word immediately with gladness. When they heard the word immediately, I'm talking about immediately, they jumped on it. They received it with gladness. But then as they progressed, or they tried to progress, you know, and as they invested time in the truth, you know, it proved that they didn't have no root within themselves, and so they endured for a time. You know, they stayed in it, let's say, brother or sister come into the truth and they only stayed in it about like for half of a year or a year or so. And then after that, they went back out into the world, or they fell off. They withered away. Because why? The affliction, man. The persecution, the trials and tribulations. You know, the affliction and persecution arises for the word's sake. And immediately when that comes, they are offended, man. They can't withstand it. You see? And so this going back to Revelation 10 and 9. Take it, eat it up. You know, learn the Bible. You know, as soon as you learn it, you know, it's gonna make your mind bitter. You're gonna realize that, man. You're gonna realize as a Hebrew Israelite that you're in servitude. You know, you're gonna realize that as a Hebrew Israelite, you are in slavery to the so-called white man and his government, while he rules over you day in and day out. You know what I'm saying? Like, just alone, you finding out about your heritage and your history. You know what I'm saying? Just alone, you are going into the slave trade, man. That's going to piss you off. About the 99 million Hebrews. That's the real Holocaust. The 99 million Hebrews that was slaughtered and slain when you go into the transatlantic slave trade. You know, you realize what these white people have done. Now you find it hard to even associate with white people. You find it hard to even work for them. Your boss man might be a white man. You don't want to work for him now because you find out, according to the scriptures, you found out that Esau, the so-called white man, is the devil. Now you find it hard with trying to reason with these people. You know what I'm saying? All this history, man. You find out all of this stuff in the scriptures. Deuteronomy 28:68 tells you that how we was transported to America by slave ship, thus fulfilling the slave trade from 1650 to 1860. You know what I'm saying? From Africa to the Americas. You find out this stuff even before the transatlantic slave trade. You find out how we was despitefully misused. You know how the Romans crucified us. You know, going all the way back to the Greeks, how they despitefully misused us, treated us. Going all the way back to the Persians. Going all the way back to the Assyrians. I mean, going all the way back to the Babylonians, going back to the Assyrians, going back to the Egyptians. When you read this, when you read the Holy Bible, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, when you read the Holy Bible, the Holy Bible is a book of lamentation and great distress. When you read it, when you read the Holy Bible, man, it's going to make you bitter when you read it, man. You see? So that's what it means, make thy belly bitter. So let's go into the Strong Concordance number, thus dealing with bitter. And make thy belly bitter, man. Bitter is
Strong's G 4087 Pekrino.
Pekrino, G 4087 in the Greek dictionary. Pekrino. And then when you go into it, man, it says to make bitter, to produce a bitter taste in the stomach. When you read the Bible, it's going to be sweet in the beginning because you find out the knowledge that you are a Hebrew Israelite, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. But soon it's going to produce a bitter taste, man. You know what I'm saying? To the stomach, and it's thus dealing with the stomach is dealing with the belly, and the belly is dealing with the mind. Because actually your brain and your stomach, actually, the brain and the stomach is in correlations with one another, because the tissues that makes up the stomach is primarily the same tissues that makes up the brain. All right. As you can see here, it says your gut contains a second brain. You see, you can read this. The nervous system, you know, lining the gut contains 100 million neurons, which is more than the spinal cord, or however you say this. You guys can help me out. The nervous system. All I'm trying to point out is that your gut is known as a second brain. Like you can see, like the brain here, you can see how the brain looks like coiled, small and large intestines. You can see this. So when the Bible speaks of Revelation, thus dealing with making the belly bitter. It's talking about in reference to the brain as well. You know, to be bitter is to be embittered and to be irritated. So when you read this book, just know that it's not only a book that's speaking of everlasting joy, mirth, happiness, and etc., but it's also a book that's speaking about embitterment and it's speaking about irritation, man. You know, exasperation. Why? Because like I said in the beginning, this truth is a wonderful thing. You see? But as you progress in it, it becomes irritable to you. Alright? Let me pull some more book, chapter, and verses so you can see. So yeah, take it, eat it up, Revelation 10:9, and it shall make thy belly bitter. Belly is in correlation to the mind, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. That's when you first come into the truth. It's sweet as honey. Okay? And then eventually it makes the mind irritable, makes you irritated. You find out that you're a slave. Blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. Let me show you another precept that's dealing with that. This is Isaiah 30:20. Says, and though the Lord gives you bread of adversity. You see that? Now, what is the bread of adversity? When you read concerning in the Gospel of Matthew, starting with Matthew chapter 6, I believe in Matthew chapter 6, beginning with verse 9, it reads the Our Father prayer, and then when you get to a certain phrase in the Our Father's prayer, it says, "Give us this day our daily bread." Right? So, and the Lord give you bread of adversity. Now, what is the bread of adversity? The bread of adversity is the Bible, man. All right. Even though this bread of adversity is also talking about chattel slavery, because the Most High put that on us. But like I said, secondly, the bread of adversity is the Bible. So that daily bread, which is the Bible, that's bread of adversity. This is the bread of adversity. So don't leave out the other half. So when people tell you that reading the Bible is beneficial, reading the Bible, you know, is a book of relief and joy, gladness, happiness, reading the Bible just takes you away. I mean, that's true, but don't leave out the other half, because like I said, the Bible is like a battery, you know, and you have the negative side, you have the positive side. As a Hebrew Israelite, you're going to really get to know the negative side. And so when you do that, the Bible is known as what? The bread of adversity. As you can see, the Lord gave us this. The Lord gave us the Holy Scriptures. You know what I'm saying? The Most High, He appointed the law in Israel. You know, He gave us the Holy Scriptures, the scrolls. You know, and these scrolls, the modern day Bible, is known as the bread of adversity, man. What is the water of affliction? The water of affliction is when you cry. That's in reference to your tears. You know, because when you're reading this book, the Lord gave us the bread of adversity. It's going to compel you to cry. It's going to break you down. The water of affliction is going to break you down. When you read how we were such a great nation and how we failed. When you read how the Most High appointed us as kings and queens, as His special, as His beloved, as His chosen, and we broke these commandments. The Israelites, the blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, when we broke these commandments, the Most High put us at the back of the line. When we broke these commandments, the Most High cast us down, man. Pursuant to Lamentations, you know, the Lord gave us bread of adversity. He gave us, so this is the bread of adversity, man. You feel me? And the water of affliction, it calls mourning when you read this book. Yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thy eyes shall see thy teachers. And that's happening today. You know what I'm saying? You see the elders, you see the Hebrew Israelites out and about, teaching in the streets, the highways, the byways, the hedges, the streets, the subways. You might see the Hebrew brothers out and about, teaching these commandments, you know, waking up our people. Thy eyes shall see thy teachers. And so, about in every state, you're going to see a Hebrew Israelite camp. Even in remote areas, across the water, the Hebrews rising up. Thy eyes shall see thy teachers. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, the Most High gave us bread of adversity. What is that? That's the Bible. That's the daily bread of adversity. You know? And so, I'm going to show you more pursuant to Revelation 10 and 10. About, you know, Revelation primarily 10 and 9. About you taking it, this book, you eating it up, you getting to learn this Bible, and it's making you bitter. It's making our mind bitter. So I'm going to show you more book, chapter, and verses. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 18. Says, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increases knowledge increases sorrow. So when you start reading this book, man, you know, you start amplifying, you know, you start graduating, you start coming up, upgrading in your knowledge, you start elevating in your wisdom. That's going to increase more sorrow, man. That's going to really piss you off. Ecclesiastes 1 and 18. For in much wisdom is much grief. The reason why a lot of people is not in much grief because they are not in much wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So to elevate and become wise is to add upon much grief. You know, and that's bitterness. And he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. That's why a lot of people, a lot of our people, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, they don't want to increase. They don't want to become profound men and women. They rather remain dumb as hell. You know why? Because when you don't have that much wisdom and you don't have that much knowledge increase, then you won't have to worry about grief and sorrow. You see? But if you seeking wisdom and knowledge, then you're going to put up with grief and sorrow, man. And grief and sorrow, that alone is bitterness. You see? Ecclesiastes chapter 7 now. Let's go over to chapter 7, verse 7. Surely oppression makes a wise man mad. You see, so we oppress the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel is an oppressed people, man. I'm gonna show you this in the scriptures. And being oppressed, see, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans, you might not know about this knowledge. So if you are a Christian, if you are a Mormon, Jehovah's Witness, whatever you are claiming to be, whatever your religious status, whatever that is, you might not be informed. If you black, Hispanic, Latino descent, you might not be informed on that you're a Hebrew Israelite according to these scriptures. So when you find out this and you begin to read the Bible, you're going to be like, damn, man, it seems like the Hebrew Israelites stayed in captivity. It seems like the Hebrew Israelites stayed oppressed because the Hebrew Israelites continuously broke the laws, statutes, and commandments of God. And every time you turn around, they in servitude to some other heathen nation. That's going to make you mad because surely oppression makes a wise man mad. And so you might not know black man, Hispanic man, Latin man. You know what I'm saying? You might not know that you are being oppressed because you've been taught that you are someone else. But when you find out that you are Israelite, you're going to really know about oppression. Because the book, this is the book of oppression. You know, this book speaks of Israelites being in several captivities. Captivities under the Egyptians, captivities under the Assyrians, captivities under the Babylonians, captivity under the Persians, captivity under the Greeks, captivity under the Romans, captivity in the revived Roman Empire, which is America. Babylon, you captives here. You see? So surely oppression maketh the wise man mad. You're going to find out you're an Israelite in captivity under the hands of the white man and his government. And that's gonna make you bitter alone. And a gift destroyed the heart. Yeah, because the so-called white man thinks that he can give gift to us to destroy us. You know, like to keep us from rebelling, to keep us from throwing a revolution. You know what I'm saying? He gives gifts to us like governmental benefits, EBT, Section 8, WIC, welfare, stuff like that, man. He'll give us governmental benefits to destroy us because that way he won't seem as though, the so-called white man won't seem as though he the enemy. So he try to bless us in the return of giving us gifts to destroy our heart. You know what I'm saying? Try to look out for us and do things for us. They try to cover up his rape, rob, and murder. You know, man. You see? So when you start reading this book, man, you're gonna be like, damn, man. Sometimes you're gonna think about giving it up. When you really start reading this book and you find out as a Hebrew Israelite how oppressed nation we are, man, you know you're gonna say this right here, Ecclesiastes 7 verse 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning. You're gonna be like, damn, man, Most High, come and take me up out of here, man. Get me the hell up out of here. Because you're gonna find out how much of a press you are. You're gonna be saying better is the end than the damn beginning thereof. And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. You see, let's continue on. All right. This is Isaiah 52 and 4. For thus said the Lord, my people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. Man, you see, Ezekiel 18 and 8 asked for his father because he cruelly oppressed, spoiled his brother. You know what I'm saying? This might be on another tape, but I'm just trying to bring out the main thing as Israel being an oppressed nation. Ezekiel 22:29. The people of the land have used oppression, man, and exercised robbery, and have vexed the poor and needy. Yet they have oppressed the stranger wrongfully. Like I said, man, you can look at these verses on your free time, thus dealing with oppression, man. You know what I'm saying? Israel have always been oppressed, man. You know, that's gonna make you bitter. Like when you go into what that is, when it talks about is Israel a homeborn slave? Is Israel a homeborn slave? I think that's in Jeremiah. I'm just trying to show you guys. Is Israel? I think that's in Jeremiah 2. Let's see, can we get that? All right, let's see. Jeremiah 3, somewhere up in there. I'll get it for you guys. Right there, Jeremiah 2 and 14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? You see, this is what you're reading about, the nation of Israel being a servant, being slaves. This is the history of this book. It's gonna make you bitter. You're not gonna want to talk about it. You're gonna once you find out the truth, you know what I'm saying, how we as a nation have been oppressed, you know, you're not gonna want to deal with it. You're gonna try to get away from it. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can't accept the so-called white man as the devil. You can't accept that he's the oppressor and that his people put shackles on our people and despitefully misused and mistreated our people. You can't accept how, you know what I'm saying, you can't accept how the things that the Edomites did to us as a nation. You know, unspeakable atrocities that was carried out on our people. You don't want to talk about it because now you find out the truth. Like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? I thought these heathens were our friends. And then you find out when you read the Bible, then you find out these heathens are our enemies. You know what I'm saying? Like, you find out that the so-called white man, Chinese, Japanese, East Indians, Arabs, Africans, all of those heathen nations, all of those people are our enemies. When you find that out, you don't want to deal with it. What it does is it conjures up bitterness in your spirit, man. You see? Slavery in the Bible, man. Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. You know, from them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and members of their clans born into your country. And they will become your property. You can bequeath them to your children as inherited property and can make them slaves for life. But you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly. So the Bible does speak of slavery, man. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, you're going to be oppressed. You're going to be bitter, man. What more can I say? You know, a couple more verses, then I'll close it out. Let's look into Ezekiel 2 and 9. We're looking to Ezekiel 2 and 9. Ezekiel 2 and 9. We'll look into that right quick. Ezekiel 2 and 9. And when I looked, behold, a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. Now that roll of a book, that book right there is talking about the Bible, man. Let's go back to some illustrations. That book right there is talking about the Bible in Ezekiel 2 and 9. Behold, a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll, a book was therein. So Ezekiel prophesies about the modern day Holy Bible. That's the book. Ezekiel 2 and 10, and he spread it before me. And so he opened it up, basically, you know, and it was written within. Now it was written within. What is written within this book? Scriptures. Basically, when you open it up, you see book, chapter, and verses in it. You know, a certain prophecy. So, you know, Ezekiel 2 and 10. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without. So basically, when you possess a Bible, you know, you get your Bible, is written within and without. Written within is the scriptures, the book, chapter, and the verses. Written without, it'll say Holy Bible on it. That's the description written without. It says the Holy Bible. And it was written within and without. And there was written therein. Now, what's in this book, man? What's in this book? There was written therein, Lamentations. What does it mean to lament? To lament means to cry, to weep bitterly. So it was written in this book, Lamentations and mourning and woes, woe meaning destruction. So in this book is nothing but written therein, bitter weeping, crying, mourning, and destruction, man. This is what in the Bible. This is a book. The Bible is truly indeed a book of lamentations, mourning, and destruction. That's what this book talks about. And reading that, it's going to make you bitter in your spirit, man. It's going to make you bitter in your mind. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't recommend for people to say this is a positive book and only a positive book. Like this has a positive charge and they leave out the negative charge. And they don't leave. They always talks about the Bible being a book of motivation and a book of a great book of motivation, and it's a book to just enlighten you and make you feel better and make you feel like you're on the top of the world. But then they leave out the negative side. They leave out the bread of affliction. You know what I'm saying? They leave out pursuing the Ezekiel 2 and 10, lamentations, mourning, and destruction. They leave that out and they make it seem like this book is only about a book of positivity and happiness and joy and everlasting life. But then they don't go into the negative side. The Bible is like a battery, man. And you have the positive side as well as the negative side. But people, what they do is they disregard the negative side and then they always talk about the positive side. You can't do that. As a Hebrew Israelite, you must know both sides. You know? So in this book, you know what I'm saying, Ezekiel 2 and 10, it's lamentations, mourning, and destruction. You see? That's what's in this book. Alright? And so, I believe I'm finished with this lesson. I just wanted to bring that out. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to bring that out before the people because that's pursuant to Revelation 10 and 10. It's just a review lesson. I did this long time ago, y'all. Revelation 10 and 10. Took the little book out of the angel's hand, the messenger's hand, and I ate it up. You know, I got the Bible, you know, the messenger. The messenger can be the store clerk. You know what I'm saying? The messenger can be the owner of the store. You know, you go into the store, you take the little book, you pick out your Bible, the messenger, the angel's hand, when he sells it to you, you go into the store, you pick which Bible you want. There are different variations of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? I would recommend King James, but you might pick a Bible, you know what I'm saying? And you go home, you begin to eat it up. You begin to study it. You begin to, you know what I'm saying, meditate on it day and night. You begin to learn it, become acquainted with it, you know. And then, you know, especially as an Israelite, you find out that your book is sweet as honey. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually, as soon as you get to know it, you know, eventually it's gonna make your mind bitter. You see, so that's the lesson of today. Hope you guys was edified. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video. Also check me out on Facebook. You know, S.F.I.A Israel. Check me out on Twitter. Help one another as the nation of Israel. Hopefully everything will come together. We will see you soon in the kingdom. Until next time, peace and much love and wisdom and blessings be upon you guys, the elect of the nation of Israel, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. And with this one, closing out. Shalom.